Hello, guys. This is Mark Millar from Access Noise, and I'm very, very pleased to introduce my guest today, James Atkin. How's it going, James?
Very well, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. Much appreciated, as usual. Where are you today?
I'm actually sat in my studio, which is situated in the Yorkshire Dales in the UK.
So that's where all the magic happens in there?
Well, to be honest with you, the angle you're looking at, it looks quite glamorous, but if I did pan it round, you'll see that it's, for some reason, it becomes a bit of a store cupboard for everybody's bits, like kids' bikes, hoovers, jet washes. It's, yeah, I've kind of got my little corner and I've got the deck set up and, you know, I kind of sneak away in here, but yeah, I'd like a posh studio.
Yeah, well,
certainly.
It would be very similar if I turned the laptop around and facing the wall here. So I know exactly what you mean. I think everybody's doing these Zoom calls now, and everybody's like making makeshift studios and broom. They're just broom cupboards, really.
That's all they are. But are you not finding that people are getting really good at talking on screen, where before people were a bit like, oh, I hate the way I look, the way I sound, and really conscious. But now people, like, you know, people are getting quite confident, and everyone's a TV presenter now, aren't they? And you know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that, because previously, and I've spoke to you, as I said before, a few times via phone or whatever, for phone interviews, for my other podcasts and stuff, but that was fine. But actually having to watch myself on a screen when I'm talking to somebody else, I'm just really getting used to it. It's took about 10 interviews to sort of get used to it, and I hate listening to myself and watching myself back. But you're used to it. You're all been on TV for years and stuff, so.
I'm so not used to it. I mean, in EMF, you've got to remember, in EMF, I did no interviews whatsoever. I was so cripplingly shy. And it's only in recent years, and I think a lot of that's got to do with me having to stand up in front of classes every day and teach kids. And I think once you've stood up in front of a class of 30, you know, teenagers, and you kind of lose the fear a little bit. So I'm definitely getting more confident, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, likewise. So you just released your 5th solo album, Songs of Resistance, and you wrote it during lockdown. And so I read that it was originally written with Ian Dench, your EMF colleague, as a new EMF album. Is that correct?
Yeah, in a roundabout way. I mean, when I started it, it was going to be it's a solo album. I wrote a couple of songs, and I wrote them pretty quick after the last album, because I got that album out at the start of the first lockdown, March, and then obviously I had a lot of time on my hands. So I wrote a bunch of tunes, and I started putting the album together. And then I kind of thought, I've got all these songs that I did with Ian that, you know, when me and Ian write together, it is the idea of doing a new EMF album. But this has kind of been going on for over 20 years, and we kind of have cassettes and DATs just hanging on the shelf, and things never ever come to fruition. So I just needed a few more songs, and I thought it seems such a waste not to use these songs. I had a chat with Ian. Ian's always really supportive, and he's like, yeah, you know, go for it. You know, but I think that's kind of what makes this album a little bit different. It's definitely got that Ian Dench stamp to it. I'm not quite sure it sounds like an EMF album, because obviously I've taken the ideas and developed them myself and made them into my own, you know, kind of sound and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame they weren't an EMF album really, but it's so hard to be a functioning band after decades, and you know, so I'm glad the songs haven't gone to waste, and it's always a joy working with Ian, and you know, he's a great songwriter. We bring out the best of it, I think.
Well, the album's called Songs of Resistance. Where did the title come from? Is there anything behind it?
Not really. I mean, I just like the sound of it. I feel like it's got an old school feel to it, like a New Order album or something. I was a little bit wary and conscious that people might think it's some sort of, you know, rebel political album, and of, you know, of songs of, you know, consciousness and all this sort of stuff. But it's not really. It's just resistance against everything, not just the powers that be, but maybe resistance is about getting older, or being bombarded with opinions. And I guess I honestly I just like the ring a bit, Mark, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, it's a great album. I've been really enjoying it, and so hopefully we can dig into some of the tracks, and you can tell me about some of the stories behind them. Well, the album kicks off with "Hello, People," and it's a great intro to the album. So it's a great way to start off the album. What's the story behind that song?
It was a song that me and Ian wrote nearly 4 or 5 years ago. It's been through lots of different incarnations. It's been in a major key. It's been played with live bands. Originally, the lyrics, I guess, I mean, I know the album's called Songs of Resistance, but it was, I guess the lyrics is "Hello, People." It was based around that time when Brexit was all going on. I know that's still going on, but it's kind of got overtaken a little bit, hasn't it, by the pandemic. But it was certainly a time when it felt like there was a lot of nastiness around, and people's views towards other people, and things kind of got a bit weird. And it was just, I was trying to write it as a song of hope, really. Hello, people, what's new? Times are tough, but you can't get enough people like you. People are welcome. Yeah, maybe I have got a bit of a rebel mode. I don't know, but that's where it came from. It was supposed to be an uplifting song of hope. That's what I was trying to get across anyway.
Well, second track, Radar, it's probably one of my favorite tracks. I really enjoy it. It's about your sons. Imagine when your sons leave home, and if they're still going to be on your radar.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm already noticing it already. I mean, they're turning into teenagers. Well, one of them's like 15 now, and the other one's 13. And I guess it changes so quick. And from them being, your babies, to all of a sudden they're just in their room. And I don't think my eldest has spoken to me for about 4 days. They kind of, the distance has come in, and I know what it was like myself when I left home. I was kind of touring the world with EMF, but I very rarely rang my parents up or even thought about my parents, to be honest with you. So yeah, it was just a bit of a song about that, really. Keep me on your radar.
Mm-hmm. And Keep Traveling, which was written as a birthday present for your wife. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. I think I might have changed the lyrics a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I used to write songs for Rachel all the time, and I've used a few of them over the years on different albums, and she keeps going, I recognise this song. Mm-hmm. And so, when I'm kind of looking for some rehashing some ideas and that. So yeah, this was a recent one I wrote for her, and I just thought, it sounds really cool. Let's put it on the album. It's quite a long track. Yeah. It was more of a sort of, I fancied like this atmospheric journey going on for about 6-7 minutes. I think it's turned out. I must admit, Mark, I think that's probably one of my favourite. That is my favourite on the album. Yeah,
it's one of mine. I get a sort of, I hope you don't mind me saying this, a sort of Don Henley Boys of Summer vibe to it.
Hasn't it just?
Was that intentional?
That's what I hear in it all the time. It's those guitars, those chugging guitars with the echoes on it and stuff. I hear that, and yeah, maybe that's thank you for pointing that out. No one else has picked up on that just yet, but it definitely has. Hey, come on.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. And congratulations, by the way. West Country Raver has been getting played in Six Music, so you must be buzzing after all these years to get played on national radio.
It is incredible. I haven't had like a new release on national radio for over 25 years or something, so it is such a buzz, and it's a strange one because I'm kind of stuck here isolated on my own, this little studio in the Yorkshire Dales, miles from anywhere, working on my own. Obviously I haven't got a record label or publicist or press or marketing, so for a major national and Six Music to pick it up and play it just because they like the record, not just because a radio tout or what you call them has gone in there and says play this, you know what I mean? So that's kind of a bit extra special for me, and it's just nice to know that people are like the music, and it is getting out there, because sometimes it can get quite frustrating, you know, working on ideas, and you're just thinking, will this ever see the light of day? Will people hear it? And you know, and you can't really get much more kudos than Six Music, apart from your podcast, Mark.
Yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely. that goes without saying, James. No, well deserved anyway. You know, I was really pleased myself to see that. And again, West Country Raver, great song. But can you remember the very first rave you went to back in the day?
Well, we were in the West Country. I'd like to say I went to Castle Morton and stuff like that, but a lot of the big open-air raves passed me by because I was touring America with EMF. And, you know, we'd come back off 6-week tours and there'd be all these big free parties going on. So I kind of missed all the ones in the early 90s. Certainly, I moved to London, and then we went out clubbing in London, down Turnmills and places like that. But that was kind of I'll tell you what, I did actually, in 1988, move to London for the first time. And I went to all these seminal clubs that were supposed to be playing acid house music, like the Mud Club and the Wag Club. And I remember I was kind of obsessed with it a little bit. I remember putting a smiley face bandana on, going to the Mud Club, and I think they were probably playing some Chicago house music, but it certainly wasn't like an acid house scene. I think I must have been in the wrong club or something, but I was kind of fascinated by it. But it was the festivals, the early festivals, that was kind of my party in fields. That's where I kind of got that experience from.
So you're still a raver at heart anyway, I'm sure. Where was it? Can you remember even the last full-blown rave you were at? Would that be a long time ago? I can't even remember mine, actually. I was thinking about it myself when I was thinking of the question.
No, I can't. We've got a pretty big sound system in this room, actually. We've got some big old Mackie speakers under there. And occasionally me and my wife will get in here on a Friday evening and pump it up really loud, so loud that we have to shout at each other in front of the speakers. And that's probably as close as I get to raving these days. And I do upset a few farmers.
Is there a particular, there's bound to be a song that would really get you toe tapping and get you up dancing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we always take it back to the old school. We always love putting the Prodigy on, Future Sounds of London, or Orbitals. Always, you know, we love Orbitals so much.
Belfast, classic track.
Belfast. Oh my days. Always go back to the Chemical Brothers. We love the Chemical Brothers. I haven't recently, but I play a lot of stuff off Mixcloud and people's DJ sets, which I really enjoy. There's a few big tunes that, you know, we put on, like, do you know a tune, Hard Floor, Experience Hard Floor? It's like one of the first 303 Fall to the Floor tunes.
I would probably know it if I heard it. It's just song titles.
I've done to it many a time.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely. One of the tracks, another great track on the album, Three Stripes Adidas, or Adidas, or whatever way people pronounce it, right? My favorite, Adidas or Gazelles. What's yours? What would you wear?
Well, I like to go, I know they're a bit commercial these days, but I like Shell's toes, just because of the DMC and the old hip hop vibe. It's funny because my kids are all about Nike these days, and Adidas is a little bit. And yeah, I have got some really good classic Adidas, like high tops and stuff. I don't know the names of the model names of them, but I've certainly got a collection of Adidas trainers.
Yeah, I'm a Gazelle man.
I can't. Yeah, Gazelles are great. I mean, actually, a standard proper. Yeah.
But I remember when I was younger, when I was into Run DMC and the Beastie Boys, and they used to always wear them, and you could never get them until I was older. No, the shell toes. And I did have a few pairs.
But you can get shell toes anywhere now, you know. So it's kind of, but God bless Adidas.
Absolutely. When you were writing the album, you know, was there a particular song when you in the writing process, and you had a certain song you went, right, this is a good song, I'm on the right track here? Was there one that stood out?
Yeah, I guess it's really funny how because what I do is I write a song and then I start compiling the album, what songs are going to go in what order. And originally it was quite a downbeat album, and there's a song on the album called Big Big Worlds. And I really liked that, and I really thought that was the kind of sound and tempo that I was going to go for. So for a good few months, that was the starting track on the album, and everything else flowed from that. But then I kind of panicked a little bit and thought it's a little bit too downbeats, and I need some up tunes. And that's when I went back to some of the EMF tunes. But I do usually get one or two songs, and that kind of shapes the whole album for me. There's a song like Traveling, Keep Traveling. That was kind of, you know, the one sonically how I wanted the rest of the album to sound, with, you know, like just like an 808 kick drum and skippy beats and stuff. I tried to simplify things quite a lot.
You know, the album is very uplifting. You know, it's a perfect antidote for these times. You know, it does really cheer you up when you stick it on, and there is lots of mellow moments as well, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, I guess I've been conscious to try and write some upbeat tunes as well, especially lyrical content, because I mean that's something I get from Ian, because I quite often write something that's miserable or a bit left field or is a bit odd, and Ian's really good at writing pop songs and being very direct, and things like People and stuff like Hello People is very uplifting. So yeah, maybe I was a little bit thinking of doing that. Yeah.
Would you just go into your studio every day and sort of just tinker about anyway and just make tunes and sounds and write lyrics, even when you're not intending to record an album?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a rest for a couple of weeks, but I do itch to get in here. I try and do something creative every day if I can. When I got the last album out and we went into lockdown, I kind of purposely didn't come into the studio because I didn't want to put myself under too much pressure. Everybody was talking about, oh, now we've got time in our hands, we're going to make those records we wanted to make, or go in the album, finish things. I thought, I kind of just put an album out. I'll have a little rest for a while. But then I kind of sneak in. It drives my wife crazy because I probably do spend too much time in here. And, I try to drag her in here on a Friday and we do some sort of live stuff and just to balance things out a little bit.
Nice one. So, I mean, it's your fifth solo album. Are you enjoying life doing the solo thing?
Yeah, I am. It's a necessity, really. I kind of, you know, I'd love to be in a band, but it's kind of quite hard work. I think I've reached an age now where I think going out and working an album, touring and stuff like that I probably wouldn't enjoy it. It'd probably be too much for me. You know, there's the one thing about lockdown, I haven't had any gigs, which it's been quite nice, really. A few gigs are coming in now because obviously things are changing. Promoters are getting in touch. I'm a little bit terrified of doing gigs again because it's been so long. But yeah, but you know, I do miss being in a band, but there's certain control you've got when you do it all yourself. You know, you can, it's even not having management or a record label is quite liberating because I can choose what songs I want to do, what orders to do them in, you know, and also, you know, and even things like on a Friday night, if I want to do a live performance of one of the songs, it doesn't have to be planned as part of a marketing strategy. You just go, right, let's do that song, let's get it up there and let's just do that. You know, the freedom you get is incredible.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're getting played on Sex Radio, you know, so it's cool, like, you know. And will you be playing Shine this year? Because I'm sure Shine's going to be happening.
We are playing Shine, but I'm going to play with Bentley Rhythm Ace, and we're playing the Saturday night in one of the smaller rooms. It's going to be insane. I mean, it's going to be insane for us because we haven't done a gig, but I think the audience are going to go absolutely wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's going to be the first time people have been out for 18 months or something, you know. So we'll be down at Shine.
And during lockdown, you did you put together the Tonight Matthew series. Series of live videos with performances on YouTube with various guests, various friends. What inspired that? Because we really enjoyed that. It was very good.
it kind of just developed out of nowhere. I wanted to, the first one was a Cure cover, and I just thought, let's try this out. So I got Franny from Space, my mate Ollie, I think I got Justin Welsh from Elastica, just old friends who I would have spoke to anyway on a Friday night. And then Richard's March from Pop Lead itself. I kind of rang up and says, have you got a double bass? And he goes, yeah, can you record yourself? And I'll try putting editing a video together. And that was the first one. And then Richard turned around and says, should we do some more? And then in the end, we did a series of 10. And it was getting insane at one point. We were getting, you know, Keith Allen and, you know, the guy from Steel Pulse and, you know, Toya Wilcox. It was just like, it kind of went a bit crazy for a while. But I think after 10 we were kind of running out of names in our address book, so we kind of, I think we might still do a few more, but we're talking about it, and also getting Miles Hunt and people like that to do it, and it was really good fun. It was quite time consuming, but we had time on our hands, so it was you know, kept us busy.
I enjoyed the Big Audio Dynamite cover of Good Morning Britain.
Yeah, wasn't that great?
It was class.
Yeah, 'cause I think actually that might have been 11 then, because I put that one on the ends for Shine, as part of the Shine. I think it's probably when the Shine Festival should have been. So they kind of, the promoters said, can you do something? And I thought, right, I've got a great idea. And I come across that song by accident. I didn't really know the song. And then I spoke to Jim Bob from Carter, and then Miles says he'd do it, and Richard mixed it for us. And yeah, that came out really well.
Yeah, that was the first one I came across. It was really enjoyed it. Really class. Your last album, Aries Pagan, you donated the proceeds to the Help Musicians cause. Why did you decide to do that? And also, for anybody who's watching, can you tell them a bit about it and why you're passionate about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange time, because I finished Aries Pagan, I was ready to release it, and then lockdown happened. There was so much uncertainty, and you know, people weren't getting into work, and I kind of thought, you know, it's quite weird thinking back now, because it's been like, you know, what, nearly a year ago actually. So I just felt really strange selling the record or asking for money off people. So I was just going to give it away, because I thought, well, I've got it, I can't promote it, I don't really want to ask people for money, because people are losing their jobs, people are going to find it hard, you know, money's tight and stuff like that. But then, so I did a bit of research. I thought, well, maybe I won't give it away. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just do it as all the proceeds. People can pay what they want, but all the proceeds will go to the Help Musicians funds. And that was an emergency fund that was set up to help musicians who were struggling from loss of earnings, gigs and stuff like that. So we did really well in the end. I was surprised, because I thought, because you didn't have to donate or any proceeds, you could have just downloaded it. But most people donated or the price of a CD, so it raised quite a lot of money.
Nice one.
Which, you know, it was quite good actually. I think I probably sold more records because of that. Maybe.
Nice one. And I just realized this here the other day when I was putting the questions together. This year, 2001, is 30 years since EMF put out Schubert Dip. Now, it's quite significant for me, because it was the year also I left school, but I was just constantly playing that album. So it's just mad. So can you believe it's that long? It's just 30 years.
No, I can't. It's insane, isn't it? 30 years.
Yeah.
Because I think back, like in the 90s, if you go back 30 years, you're talking about music from the 60s and the Beatles and things like that, which that was like ancient when I was a kid. So maybe we must be ancient to kids now, but 30 years. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. But it's interesting to say when you left school, because I think when you leave school, that's, people get into music all the time, but I think it's such a special time in your life, and the music's really important, isn't it? Kind of shapes who you are when you're young. I remember when I left school, it was all the Smiths, so Echo and the Bunny Men and New Order and the Cure, and those kind of, that music has stayed with me now.
Mm.
And that's over 30 years ago.
Yeah. So what can you remember about that time, about getting the record deal and becoming, you know, quite famous as in the UK and America, and, you know, the actual recording of the album? Because I think it was Pascal Gabriel. I think he was the guy that produced it. Is that correct?
He actually started the album, but he didn't finish the album. It's a Pascal. He was a brilliant producer, but what we'd done, we recorded Unbelievable with this guy called Ralph Jezard. And Ralph Jezard was a bit of an old punk, but he had really good. He knew about dance music because he'd just done the Silver Bullet record, 20 Seconds to Comply. So he knew about hip hop groups and sampling and electronics. He did Unbelievable. And I'm not quite sure what happened, but then when we went in to do the album, we did the album with Pascal Gabriel. We started it and we were a little bit unsure whether Pascal was getting the sound that we wanted. It was sounding a bit polished. I mean, he's amazing. He's honestly amazing. So in the end, we didn't finish it with Pascal. We went back to Ralph Jezard, who did Unbelievable, and that's why it's got more of a sort of edgy guitar feel to it. So yeah, I think we kind of saved the album right at the last minute. It wasn't quite like clear sailing on the album. It was kind of, we had to work it a little bit.
And it's amazing the way you sneak that song, you know, the sample in it, the vocal sample, is what the fuck was that? It's amazing the way it was just sort of sneaked in the top of the pops and daytime radio.
Yeah, but does it say that though, Mark? Does it though?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've got to be a little bit careful because it's been used. And I'd still like it to be used for in the future.
All right. We'll edit that bit out. We'll edit that bit out.
I think actually it goes, what the... I think it might cut off.
Right, okay. Well, we can cut that bit out.
No, leave it in, honestly, it's fine. Sometimes I worry because
I dropped it and
stuff, they but it, you know, maybe it does.
That's certainly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it could be something else.
Yeah, let's just leave it there. Yeah. I don't want to get it banned 30 years later.
but if it gets banned, it'll go to #1. So it's all good.
That's a fantastic idea. I'm liking your marketing.
It always happens. A record gets banned, it goes to #1. So
yeah.
Still on the subject of Unbelievable, it was a #1 record in the US, so that must have been amazing going over there and promoting that album or that song and it being #1 record.
Yeah, I mean, we were touring over there at the time, and it was a little bit different in America because they do the Billboard 100 and records, because it's such massive country and territories. It goes up slowly. So you come in like at, you know, number 89, and then a week later it's 50, then a week later, a couple of weeks later, it edges into the top 30 and then top 20. So I think it was actually one tour where it went in as soon as we got there, and then during that 6 weeks, towards the end of it, it hit #1. So we were actually, I think we had a few gigs in Canada, and I think we were crossing from Canada back into the US as the record was #1. And we were just full of joy, telling the customs officers, don't you know who we are?
And you've also just recently put out a 30th anniversary vinyl box set, which is really cool, with loads of unreleased stuff in it. Yeah. Is that still available?
We only did a really limited run. So we did a bit of research and see what the fans wanted, and we kind of put the box set together around that. So, and I think it is actually completely sold out.
All right.
Yeah, I think.
That's
maybe. I mean, it's still in production, being manufactured at the moment. So there may be a few spares when it comes. But I don't know. Lots of people are asking for it. We should have, we should have made more really, but it was tricky to know how much it'd sell.
Yeah. Well, my favorite EMF album is Stigma. I think it's very, very underrated album. There's absolutely some belters on there, like, you know. Do you have a favorite album in the catalog? What sticks out for you?
Yeah, I guess it's not like I go back and listen to them, to be honest with Mark. I still like Schubert Dip. I still think there's something quite naive and beautiful about some of those songs like Traveling Not Running and Long Time. And the two very different sounding albums. I won't talk about the third album because that's kind of, we went off the rails by that point. But I think we were two different types of bands. When we did the first album, it was very much just exploring, finding who we were. A lot of it was me and Ian wrote it in his mum's house on the mum's piano and just a cheap synthesizer. And then when we come to Stigma, we've been obviously touring, going across America for a year. And when we came back, we set up in a room and it was a lot more band sounding, and the band was sounding really good. We were playing together really well. So yeah, they are quite different albums. I know Stigma is probably the one that the fans like the best.
Well, I like Schubert Dip, and I've just remembered actually, I had a cassette version of it, an early cassette version of it with the Mark Chapman sample in it.
Ah, right, okay.
I don't have it now. I wish I did. Might be worth a few quid.
All about that, because we had to remove that sample.
Yeah. But yeah. I had the cassette, one of the early versions of it.
Oh, right, okay. Try and find it. It must be some.
Oh, it's well gone now. Like, God knows where it is.
Yeah, I don't, because I've never really thought about that, because it was on a track called Lies, and originally we sampled Mark Chapman, but the problem wasn't sampling him. Obviously, he shot John Lennon, but it was him ranting or talking, but he was actually talking some Beatles lyrics.
Yeah, it was John Lennon song. I think it was Mind Games or one of those songs anyway, and he was reciting his.
That's where the issue was, because it was the copyright on having those words on our album.
Ah, right.
But I'm intrigued. I mean, I must go and dig a copy of, because there must be some vinyl versions with that original sample, because I guess they did a reprint afterwards and took it off.
Yeah, because I rebought a CD version of it, and it's definitely not on it. Like,
okay, right, it's different, is it?
I was pissed off. So, where are we? Your day job as a teacher. So how's that been going on? Have you been back at work, or are you staying at home? What's going on there with that?
No, I've been going in. I did have quite a bit of time where I wasn't needed, and I was just going in the odd day to look after key worker students and vulnerable kids and stuff. Recently, since in this lockdown, I have actually been going in 3 days a week and just doing not so much normal, but teaching lessons to vulnerable kids and stuff. Lots of uploading lessons, Loom lessons, Zoom lessons. It's been strange. And they've just announced that it's coming to an end now, so hopefully by the 8th of March we'll have all the students back. Which mixed emotions about.
Yeah, you could have made another couple of albums.
Exactly, yeah. It's my creative juices, this. Yeah, I mean, it's been a joy being able to have a bit of time to promote this album and do bits and bobs. Because usually when I'm teaching, it is pretty full on and it takes up a lot of my time. Jobs just get in the way of life, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a means.
What would you do if one of your students come up to you and said, "Look, I'm thinking of starting a band"? What advice would you give them?
I would say just make sure you're really passionate and you've got to. It's all good what they want to join. If they want to start a band just for fun, that's great. If they've got ideas of wanting to be famous or make money, then I probably tell them to be quite cautious, because it's really difficult. You've got to have so much luck. You've just got to be passionate about it. You've got to want it so much. You've got to put so much work in. And also, don't think you're going to make music to make money, because it's, I was really lucky back in the 90s when you could sell lots of records and make money. But these days, where's the revenue coming from? Unless you're out gigging, and even, it's only top bands that get top dollar and stuff like that. So it's really difficult. But if that's all they want to do and their passion's there, I just wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many bands and solo artists now who have day jobs. Excuse the pun, but it's unbelievable.
No, you're
You
right,
know what I
Mark.
mean? It's crazy.
When I go, I mean, all my peers, like, you know, the bands I know, I won't mention them, but they do have day jobs.
Yeah.
You know, they're like taxi drivers, and one's a driving instructor and things like this. And you know, there's a couple that don't. Like Miles Hunt from the One Stuff, he's got it right, and he's really successful and he makes a living from it, but he works so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? He's kind of, it is, you know, full on for him. And I watch how much he works and how much he gigs and how much he promotes stuff and writes books and does live streams. And, you know, it's kind of, you've got to be pretty dedicated to do it.
I know when I was younger and I used to watch Top of the Pops, I thought they were all millionaires.
No.
You know, you know, that's what you're thinking, you know, but it couldn't be further from the truth, really.
No, it's just, yeah. And everybody can make music now. They can, you know, you've got technology at your fingertips where you can make brilliant sounding records just from a little laptop. So yeah, but it's tricky. I'm glad I'm not starting out again in the music industry. I've kind of been quite lucky, really. Well, I've been really lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a few more questions, James. I like to ask my guests these questions. What album or song is your guilty pleasure?
Let's have a think. I like Genie in a Bottle by, I can't remember the girl's name. Guilty pleasures. There's probably hundreds of tunes. I mean, we go back to the 80s quite a lot and play lots of 80s synth pop. So any OMD, Duran Duran. I was going to say Talk, but Talk quite cool.
Big time.
Yeah. So there's something about that, the synth lines and the drum sounds that really get me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't.
Funny you say that. I've had this last week. I've just had a whole talk phase. I've just been listening to loads of talk every day nearly. Amazing. Yeah,
they're a big hit in our house. Yeah. We actually covered one of the other day. Which one did we do? It might be It's My Life. No, it wasn't It's My Life. What was it? Can't remember what we did. We did one the other day, which was really cool. We've been doing this thing on a Friday night where me and my wife come in and we try and do a cover. So we just pick a song and try and do a version of it.
Does it?
We've got to keep ourselves entertained somehow.
Is it just for private use, or you're not putting them out or anything?
No, we can post them up on the internet and stuff like that. So yeah. People are sick of us.
Is there anything you've been listening to recently you could recommend? Any new stuff?
I really like, I don't know if you've come across this, Working Men's Club. Do you know Working Men's Club?
No, I haven't heard.
No, they're a young band. They're actually from Hebden Bridge or around that area, which is just up the road from me in the Yorkshire Dales. It's brilliant. I would show you, but it's really refreshing because it's quite raw. It's definitely got quite a bit of Joy Division in there and stuff like that. Really young kid. I think he's only 20. And I think I just hope it's going to happen for him. It was just happening before lockdown, and I kind of worry a lot about some of these bands who were just about on the cusp of making it, and then all of a sudden getting knocked back for over a year. When you're starting off your career, that's quite a long time. But yeah, Working Men's Club, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. Well, if the music's good, it'll still get out there at some stage.
I hope so. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, things like Six Music are brilliant. I've been listening to Six Music quite a lot recently. I love the way that there is no snobbery about music or styles and stuff like that. It's a really beautiful station to listen to. There's so much going on.
Well, it's not like back in the day, like in the 80s and the 70s, you were a punk or you were a rocker or you were into ska music. Everybody just likes everything now. Everything's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like music is the focus. It's all about just music, isn't it? And I'm like that. I mean, we listen to loads of stuff. You know, I might put some drum and bass on, but then listen to some, you know, Cat Stevens or something. And
Yeah.
you know, I thought most people were like that. But yeah, you're right. Back in the 80s, it was where you were either like, you know, a raver or a goth or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, James, that's all my questions finished.
Oh,
Hopefully I didn't keep you too long.
no, that's fine. That's fine. It's been lovely chatting.
Yeah, likewise. It's actually good to actually be able to see you this time.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, because you've been on my radar a long time, Mark. And thanks for your support anyway over the last few albums and stuff.
No, it's absolute pleasure.
And we need to get to Belfast. We need to come and see you.
Yes, definitely. Some stage, yeah. God knows when that'll be.
I was going to say, how is the scene in Belfast at the moment? But no.
It was good. It was good before lockdown. It was very good, actually.
Yeah.
Belfast has a great scene. And I think I told you before, the EMF gig at the Students' Union back in the day is legendary, you know?
Yeah, I remember it. Legendary. Yeah. Always had a good night in Belfast.
Yeah. And people were going about with EMF t-shirts. I think it said EMF at the back.
That's right.
Yeah. Remember those?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. They were cool. I used to see loads of people wearing them. I was just a wee bit too young to go to that thing. I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't there.
Everybody used to wear band t-shirts, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was a real thing, wasn't it? Yeah, and you're still wearing it.
I know. I'm sad. Just before we go, James, can you just tell everyone about where they can get your album online and your website or whatever?
Okay, thanks, Mark. I set up a Bandcamp site, and on there's the back catalogue, but there's also the new album, Songs of Resistance, and you can get a digital download there. But you can also get, I did a small run of orange vinyls. There's still a few left. So you can order a vinyl there or get the digital download there. And it is jamesatkinmusic.com. And there's bits of information up there and stuff. But yeah, jamesatkinmusic.com.
Well, I'll have the links down below.
Brilliant.
Anyway, on YouTube. Well, James, again, always a pleasure. Thanks very much talking to me, and I wish you all the best with the album. It's about there. Really love it.
Brilliant. And stay in touch, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Take it easy.
Thank you, Mark.
Have a good night, mate.
Are we done?
Yes, that's us done.
All right, thanks, Mark. Let's stay in touch. I'll drop you a text to it. Call you.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
See you later, mate. Bye.
Yes, bye.